Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another technical analysis video. Today we're going to be taking a look at Solana. We're going to see what's been going on the daily. We might even take a look at the weekly macro to give my thoughts and opinions on where I think the next most probable move is for the SOL token. As I get into today's video, if you do find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new, subscribe. Let's start things off by taking a look at the daily time frame here. So this is Solana paired up with USDT. We're on the one-day Binance chart. And as you can kind of see, we had our downward trend line here, and it does look like we kind of got a breach yesterday, right? You can see here that the price action closed above this trend line, but it is still lower than the blue line coming through the chart here. That is the 50 exponential moving average. Now, the 50 EMA is currently resistance for Solana since we lost its support on the 12th of April. Okay, so here we have to see whether or not the bulls have enough momentum to kind of break through that 50 EMA. Currently, the 50 EMA is coming in at $150.19. And so we have to see the bulls kind of breach through there. Failure to do so, we should actually start to think of this as a fake breakout, and we start to go back down towards our 200 exponential moving average, the 200 EMA. That is the white line that you see going through the chart here at $113.49. The 200 EMA at the moment for Solana is currently support. So as long as that remains a support line, this is where we're likely to find a bit of a bounce. We do obviously have ourselves a bit of a higher low situation down here for Solana here. So as you can kind of see, we find ourselves with a bit of a falling wedge triangle here. Okay, now what we want to do is want to be a little bit cautious because this could be a precursor to further downside. We want to be aware that that's not necessarily the best thing in the world. Now, from our momentum indicator, you can already see the stochastic RSI is up in the overbought area on the daily time frame, along with the 8-hour time frame. So we are a little bit cautious here because this isn't the best place to be for Solana, and we might find that Sol has to move down a bit more aggressively than it has done already. Okay, so we want to be aware of that. In fact, actually, whilst we're here, we're probably going to take a look at the divergence indicator, see if we've got anything here to help us understand where things are going. The yellow line going through the chart here is the relative strength index, the RSI. And here we are below the 50 level, indicating that we are still in bearish territory when it comes to momentum. So not the best. Over the last few days, this has risen back up, again, finding this area just underneath the 50 level on the RSI. Not the best place to be. We can see that there's no additional divergences in relation to price action versus the relative strength index either. So again, nothing there to really be too concerned with. While we're here, we could of course take a look at the MACD, and taking a look at this, we can see that we have got a little bit of positivity here on the histogram, and we have got a bit of a positive cross happening on the MACD. This is an interesting one. Whether or not this is going to be sustainable or not is going to be interesting. We have had fake outs in the past, so we'll keep a close eye on this. If it is positive, then we'll see a quick reset on the stochastic RSI and then a run to the upside. So keep a close eye on that, but for now, I don't think there's terribly too much there to be kind of, holding on to as a potential for hope, right? So let's go ahead and now come back into our price chart. So knowing that we have the downward trend line, potentially a breakout situation here, but we are finding resistance on the 50 EMA with the potential for support on the 200 EMA. We are looking at momentum shifting from the stochastic RSI and RSI point of view. The only positive to be seen at the moment is the MACD potentially showing us with the idea of a break to the upside. Two different ways of trading this then, depending on how you want to look at it. We could go long with the idea of a breakout here, but looking for a breakout above even the 50 SMA, the yellow line going through the chart, and a nice tight stop loss just lower than our trend line. Okay, get a good risk reward ratio and you should be okay. Alternatively, and probably my preferred option here would probably be to look at this as a short position with the stop loss just above the previous swing high and take profit down towards the 200 EMA. Again, risk reward ratio about 1.93 and would be probably my preferred option. But let's go ahead and see if there's anything else going on here from a trading, from an indicator point of view to start with. We do have change of characterization here for a bearish bearish move to the downside. We are finding rejection on equilibrium at the moment. So smart money concepts showing us, unfortunately, more weakness than anything else. We do remain in an interesting structure to the upside. Let me go ahead and delete that one there off. Do have a main structure as actually bullish to the upside. Okay, so over here we have the change of character, the break of structure, the break of structure. All of those are confirming bullish movement. And then the most recent moves to the downside, although we have a change of character, it's indicated with a dashed line, indicating this is a minor, whereas we have the major bullish ones. So minor short-term correction for Solana, not telling us that we're likely to see any rally of significance right now, but we do have another change of character here. Basically, there's no closed positions the previous swing lows, so that's looking good for Solana at the moment. So I guess there's a little bit of a case for the bulls here, maybe a quick corrective action to reset the stochastic RSI, reset the RSI, and then a bit of a run to the upside as a potential. That would also then fall in line with the MACD. Let's take off the smart money concepts and start looking at this from an Elliott wave theory point of view and a Fibonacci retracement point of view. Okay, so from this kind of point of view, we can see that we have got ourselves a potential breakdown here for an impulsion trend structure to the downside. Wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5. Okay, the invalidation of this, or what the bulls are going to want to do in order to prevent any further slippage to the downside, is rally the price up higher than $162.45, which will be where we currently find our wave 4 situation here. Okay, so we need to break up higher than $162.45 to prevent further slippage to the downside. The slippage to the downside would be indicated at the area between the 1.236 and the 1.618 to complete that fifth wave pattern. Coming in down here, it would be between $95.09 and $107. That there would be where you would then look to find your next major move to the upside for Solana. The problem with this is when you have a 5-wave move like this, they're never in isolation, and so we'd look at this as a giant 3-wave pattern. Basically look for the relief rally and then an additional break to the downside. And again, this could take quite some time to play on out, but you kind of see the idea here. It would be a 3-wave move upwards followed by an additional 5-wave move to the downside. If you understand Elliott wave theory, you'll understand what I'm talking about here. And this basically would then be where you would have the end of this correction, maybe, you know, towards June, July time. It's really tough and difficult to actually predict time with Elliott wave theory, but I would estimate around then, if this pattern does play out, then we're off to the races really from there. So this could be a phenomenal correction, a huge opportunity for dollar cost averaging, build out those positions with Solana before we get into that next leg to the upside. Let's take a look at the weekly and see if the weekly aligns with that thinking. So here we can see we've had great runs to the upside on the weekly time frame. They are trend-based moves to the upside. Okay, so we have our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 movement, right? And we're looking for a 3-wave corrective move so that we can continue this run to the upside. And the 3-wave corrective move starts with 5, goes up in 3, comes down in 5, would potentially line up quite nicely with the 50 EMA and 50 SMA. So again, that would actually line up quite nicely with the idea of around $71, which is where I actually just randomly drew the ABC structure on the daily chart, coinciding nicely with the idea of our 50 simple moving average, the yellow line, coming in at $71. So that would be a really nice area for that to kind of go to. You can also see that we're in the oversold area on the weekly time frame, but we can be down here for a few more weeks yet before we can take advantage of what happens next. While we're here, we might as well take a look at the relative strength index. It's still got a long way to go, but it has corrected down quite nicely at the moment. Still above the 50 level, so still has some bullishness to it. And of course, you can see the divergence bear flag in here when we actually reach the top of that previous move for Solana. So hopefully you all guys were watching that one to see that flag get in there so that you could take advantage of this nice correction on Solana so far. So if we throw on smart money concepts, of course it's bullish, it is not bearish. Everything there is actually looking quite nice. We do have weak highs. All in all, we're still actually following the previous structures from the last bullish market on the macro time frame, and we're looking very, very good for a really good price for Solana in the long term. If we actually take a look at this this and we start predicting out, where we think the next kind of major moves could be, let's assume that we do have a $71 correction, then we could be targeting out well above $1,000 for Solana. And I'd actually be targeting out this to be right in here between the 1 and the 1.236 fib scales, indicating that Solana has the potential to be rallying up towards $1,800, which would be absolutely phenomenal. And you can kind of see the potential growth in this if I actually now draw this up as an A, B, C structure. And this would basically play as a bigger A, B, C structure. And so as you can kind of see across the years how this potential pattern plays out. After this, of course, we look for very, very significant drops in price, but this looks like it could tie in very nicely with all the Solana unlocks that occur in 2025. So, I think for Solana, everything's actually clearing up quite nicely. I think we're in a really good spot. And I do think that Solana has a huge potential run to the upside in the coming months. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. If you haven't already, hit the like button. I really appreciate it if you did. And why don't you check out this video right here where I'm discussing what's going on with Cardano's ADA.